Hey, what's up, guys? I guess I'll just start with what's going on. How's everybody doing? I'm doing pretty good. Um, just hanging out, spending a lot of time at the house, like most days, like most weeks. But I just want to guess. I guess I'm just gonna rant because fuck it, I got nothing else to talk about. I mean, we could talk about anything. Fuck it. We could talk about aliens, man. We could talk about post-military. We could talk about family. We could talk about pharmaceuticals and the abuse of pharmaceuticals, I guess. So let's do what? Aliens. What the fuck was the rest? Post-military. And family. That's my cat right there. If you heard him, I'm not sure. I'd let him in, but he likes to mess around with my wires and things like that. But yeah, so like let's talk about the post-military, or no, let's talk about the alien stuff, I guess. The subcommittee hearing. I talked to my brother about it as well the last couple of days. Him and I have like our own little theories. I think it's fair to say that there's a lot we don't know about, and I think it's fair to say that there's probably a reason why. After sitting down and talking to my brother literally a couple hours last night, and we touched on the we were in the subject probably for close to, I don't know, a couple of hours just in the alien, within those bounds of conversation, and then, talking about the subcommittee congressional hearing the last week, whatever it was. And a lot of people were pushing back, I guess, on the Grosh thing, because apparently he didn't show any evidence, like any physical evidence. He only talked about it. All right. And my brother brought that up too, and I think that's a really good point. Supposedly he passed off all his documentation and photographs or whatever off to Congress to see behind closed doors, supposedly. So whatever evidence there was, we just didn't get to see it. So whoever got past the evidence gets to see it. So I guess at this point they could confirm or deny the claims or allegations of Mr. Grosh. But yeah, so I don't know. My argument was, all right. So I me and my brother were both in the military for a bunch of years. So we know high echelon officers in the military, and we know how professional they are, especially and we both come from the infantry, so it's not like we're intel. I wasn't in intel, and my brother wasn't in intel. We were just in the infantry. But I think it's safe to assume that somebody high ranking enough, you should be confident in them having done their due diligence before making such outlandish claims. And I think it's to give credit to Mr. Grosh, or Major Grosh. I don't even know what his rank was, but to give credit to him, it's like officers they have to do their due diligence because they can pay, they pay the worst, man. I think when it comes down to it, I mean, you just have way more responsibilities, way more stuff that you're responsible for, way more men looking up to you, way more responsibility, all in all. So to say some outlandish shit and then not being able to back it up is not typical of a high-ranking, at least American military officer. And I mean, at least I can speak for the ones I know of from the Marine Corps, and my brother kind of got on board with that too. Like he kind of conceded. I want to say he conceded that it's safe to say you can put some trust and some weight into something. An officer, you have to assume this officer sat down with himself and he's just like, like making these claims and this testimony in front of Congress. Like if I'm lying, or if I get caught lying, like understand I'm gonna go to prison for a long time. Like they don't take that shit lightly. So I'm giving him the benefit of the doubt for now, and then we'll see whatever he did give to Congress whenever they do deem however much of it unclassified, which I'm sure not a lot of it's not going to be declassified, so we won't be able to see a lot of it, but at least some of these people can speak to it. Some of the people that's witnessed whatever the fuck it is he passed up to Congress, some of those congressional members, hopefully they can speak to it, speak to that evidence, and we can kind of go, okay, at least we got some eyes on it, some credible eyes, because we'd like to believe our congressional members are credible people, right? But then again, we like to believe that our military officers are too. So when you hear a lot of this backlash that Grosh is taking, it's just kind of, it sucks a little bit because it's just like reaffirming that the American public could give a fuck about military, about their ranks or their credibility. Is just like, nah, he's full of shit because I didn't see nothing. Yeah, you know what I'm saying? But like when an intel guy comes up to a bunch of grunts before a mission and he's like, hey, this is what we saw last night. Here's some imagery. You can trust us. You know what I mean? Like I'm just saying my experience with intel people is like, you got to kind of trust them with your life. So like when they come down with outlandish claims, like I'm assuming they've done their due diligence and they've vetted their witnesses and they've vetted their evidence. Like it's not just some dude. And I'm guilty of it. Whenever I first started talking about Grosh, basically I was saying how he's like Homer Simpson and shit. But let's face the facts, man. Like I think he might be the real deal, bro. So some things he said during the congressional hearing, like he said he interviewed up to 40 credible witnesses, right? He got detailed testimony from 40 credible witnesses, and some of which were injured by UAP, UFO, or whatever it was they were de-engineering. And he said this under oath in front of Congress. So like I said, high-ranking military officers don't take oaths, lightly. You know what I'm saying? Like the kind of, you'd like to believe that they don't. So I mean, I think it's safe to assume. For now, at least, that he's credible. You know what I mean? Just coming from my background, I would feel comfortable trusting my intel guys. So I'm just saying, like, military background, it's just maybe just by default, I have to put credibility in high-ranking military officers, just maybe by default. But from my position, it's just like it just goes without saying. Like you have to trust your intel guys. You have to. So so at this point, I'm rolling my dice on him, and we'll see what happens, man. And obviously, Fravor, he testified as well, and he's the Navy pilot who he was prior enlisted Marine, like towards the beginning of his career. I'm just saying, not a big deal, but it's just cool. But he was a Navy pilot, right? That ran up on that tic tac, whatever it was. So he was following that for a long period of time, and they got recorded evidence on their instruments of that. But that might not even be aliens. That could be that could be Skunk Works. That could be fucking any kind of third party company, and not extraterrestrial, but who knows, man? Maybe it is, man. And that's another argument I got with my brother last night too. We talked for hours yesterday, man. And I asked him if I could record it, and he said no. So you just get to hear my memories of it. You don't get to see my brother talk yet, I guess. Yeah. So we were talking about how if they were aliens, why don't they make themselves known? Well, there's a couple reasons why they might not make themselves known, and we talked about a couple of them. One, they could just be, there could be a huge shift if they're just widely known, right? If it's just widely disclosed, there could be a huge shift in just the way people react to religion, or react to authority, or react to, I don't know, just the news in all. Like if that news came out, And I think there's a huge fear in what if you just in one day, in one swoop, just kind of disprove all religions in one, you know what I mean? In one fucking, I mean, just in one quick swoop. You're just like, hey man, aliens been here, and this is what they're telling us, that there's really nothing after this, that it's all kind of just dark and hopeless, and it's like we're all just kind of alone, and they're here to affirm that. And they didn't want to come out before and tell us because, I mean, why tarnish, a beautiful dream of a species like humans, like to the dream behind being a human is to find a purpose and to prosper and to do great things. Like there's always that dream. But if something that's way more intelligent than us or way more farther in the future than we are, what if they come down and they're just like, look, man, we did this for a few 100,000 years, a couple times over. I'm telling you, there's no reason to fucking keep trying. It's all hopeless. And I think that maybe that could be a reason why, one, that's it. Like the reason I just said, like one, a reason why it's not disclosed up to this point is because it would just spread across the globe, almost instantaneous fucking hopelessness, which is not good for anyone. And maybe those in power, those with the knowledge of this, of them being real or not, maybe those with the knowledge maybe they have kind of determined that it would make at least for a long period of time, a population of people that are, I guess harder to control for one, but harder to keep functioning, right? Because like widespread hopelessness, I don't think, like if that happened today, tomorrow, I want to say maybe 50% of people aren't going to go to work. Like it's just gonna, well, maybe not, maybe I'm wrong. Hopefully I'm wrong, but I'm just saying, like, it just makes you think that like, a lot of people, I think, would just kind of be like, all right, well, if these guys, they got all this experience and they're telling us, like, what's the point? And they can confirm that there is no point to all this, you know what I'm saying? Then fuck it. Why go to work? Like, why do anything? So maybe that's why it's been a secret for so long. And that would make sense to me. Like, that would make sense because I don't know where I'm putting this notepad, but it's in my fucking way. I guess I'll just put it here. In my way. So we talked about that, and my brother also brought up a good point, saying that, and I don't think this has so much to do with disclosure, but he just said that something about them coming from so far away, like, and I don't know, maybe along the lines. Like he said, they came from so far away. Because I brought up the fact that they probably got bases. You know what I'm saying? Like they probably got bases where no one can find them. You know what I mean? Because like that's where, if they do come from light years away. You know what I mean? Like I'm sure they don't take that trek lightly. I'm sure they don't take that movement very lightly. I'm sure like there's a lot of pre-planning. Even from an alien species, making a huge trip like that. So whenever they did come here, I'm sure there was a plan, just like when we plan to go to Mars, like we plan to create like a sustainable habitat. Well, I'm sure, I'm saying like a little base, sustainable base, self-sustaining base. I mean, that's the plan when we go to Mars. So who's to say that, that's just not a simple, like that's not fucking number one on the checklist of a pre-planning, across, fucking universe travel, so I'm saying like if there is a checklist, I'm sure that's up there on the checklist is like, hey, you got to make some self-sustainable operation there so that you don't just fucking die when you get there. So I'm sure they got bases or something to sustain themselves while they're here, while they're other places. I'm sure they got somewhere to dock and somewhere to port, and I'm sure they do. It just makes fucking sense. But my brother said, well, if they got all this technology to go from light years away to come here and they can do it instantaneously, like it doesn't make sense for them to have bases. My argument was, well, I'm sure they don't take those treks lightly. Like I said, I'm sure it's not just zipping across the fucking universe. I'm sure I'm sure they take it pretty seriously. If they do, I'm talking too much fucking bullshit. I'm saying I've been talking about this shit all day. Yesterday, my brother on the phone, like we don't have lives, so we just shot the shit on the phone. It was actually really nice. Pretty nice Saturday for a 35-year-old. So, I'll be 36 in a couple of days, but Not a bad Saturday. Anyways, so let's move on from aliens, and we'll move on to what post-military. What can I talk about post-military today? Oh man, trying to change gears here. Yeah, no, like the military, man, was a lot of fun, and I think you don't really realize what it does to you, or you know how big and important it is to your life, even after you get out. You don't really realize that until like time slows down. And when I say time slows down, like when you're serving, at least like I said, man, from my point of view, when you're serving, like in the infantry, time don't slow down. It just goes really fucking fast. You're always doing something. So you're always doing something with basically your best friends, your buds, you know, your buddies, and you're doing that shit every day. Sometimes you're in the field on, you know, the weekends, even when you're on stateside. So like literally all the misery and all the bullshit that you go through, you're going through it with like really close buddies. And then you get out the middle, and then deployments too. Deployments are just like that times 10, basically. And then you get out, and then it's just like a huge just shift in I guess speed, because life goes really fast and then it goes really slow once you get out, but you don't realize it. I think you want it to stay moving, but you don't really. Excuse me, guys. That was really disrespectful. Try not to do that again. But yeah, so I think that life slows down, and then you really start to know it like that, dude. I've gotten a lot of feedback about the podcast, the one I did about the self check, man, and it's just that you're so unoccupied compared to what you were, and then getting used to that, and then trying to find things to occupy that space. You know what I mean? Because I'm not going to go. I don't know. I guess I tell myself I'm not going to go do things, but I guess that's just a self-protective kind of thing. I mean, and I guess that, dude, I don't fucking even know what I'm talking about. But as far as post-military, like, and dude, I don't know. I just think time slows down. I just think time slows down. You get out. When you're in, time's always moving. You're always striving for the next event, the next training event, the next mission. You're always striving to do better with your team, always doing something, always pushing harder. And then you get out and it's like, whoa, slow down. It's like no one around you's pushing that fucking hard. Like nobody. So like, it's just a culture shock too, I guess. It's just culturally shocking. But not at first. At first it feels good. Like when you first get out, man, it feels like libo. Like you're going on like a block leave, like you're going for a month home or something. That's what it feels like at first. And then a month goes by, and you're like, yeah, I don't got to go back to base, man. This is the best libo ever. This is the best libo block ever. I don't have to go back to fucking Lejeune. This is great. And then another month goes by. And then you hit your buddies up, and you're like, hey, man, what you guys up to, man? They're like, oh, nothing, just chilling. And you're like, yeah, me too, man. And then another month goes by. And then you just realize that that's life now, dude. It's like, and not just for you, but for everybody, basically, you serve with. I mean, their lives are very similar to mine, I think, as of right now. I mean, there's some dudes striving, bro. There's some badasses out there running businesses, and I see you guys on Facebook and stuff. Super jealous of you, man. And I'm going to be straight up with you, man. I'm super proud of you guys, but I'm jealous. You know, I'd love to have something under me that I'm passionate about that makes me money. That'd be fucking phenomenal. But it's just the reality of the situation. If 100% of people had that reality, then society wouldn't work. So by default, some of us have to fucking, well, work fucking 40 hours a week for the man. So I'm just bitching. But that's another thing post-military, man. One thing I knew about in the Marine Corps is like if your Marines were bitching, then they were okay. You had to start worrying when they stopped bitching. You had to start worrying about your Marines if you didn't hear them bitching about something. So now, you know, I know it's okay to bitch. And it's a funny thing too. I mean, like the more you learn to shit on yourself or bitch about life around you and laugh after you bitch about it, or shit on yourself and laugh about it afterwards, the more people around you appreciate it, right? People appreciate someone that can look at misery or look at things that otherwise scare other people or make other people uneasy or uncomfortable or give other people anxiety. People kind of praise those that laugh in the face of those things. So like whenever, if it's pouring piss out, dude, like it's raining fucking hard as fuck, and I see people standing outside of Walmart as I'm walking out and they're just waiting for the rain to stop, I walk slow as fuck through the parking lot and I don't look back, man, because I know they're looking at me, man, and they're probably like, dude, this guy's a fucking idiot, and then they're probably laughing to themselves, because you can have a little comedy, man. That's what I'm saying. Like people enjoy people that kind of laugh in the face of, shit. So like that's something I learned in the Marine Corps. Like, no matter how, miserable you are or how shitty the situation is, if you can take a step back and just like, this is kind of funny, man. We're all digging fighting holes. We're all sweating our asses off. It's been weeks out here. It's hot as fuck. And we keep digging more fighting holes. Life can't suck more than this. And then you just look at your buddy and start laughing about it. There's nothing that feels better than that, man. There's just nothing. And I think I miss a lot of that, dude. I miss a lot of that from the Marine Corps, but I think the only way to achieve that again is to literally put myself through some misery or some fucking painstaking shit that, that forces you to build camaraderie, around others around you or other, it forces you to just be that fucking savage ass devil dog. I don't know, man. I don't know what else to say about it, but I guess post-military, there's a lot I miss, man, and a lot of it is the speed of it. A lot of it is the brotherhood and the camaraderie of it. And even as much as I would hate to go make myself do shit now. Oh, that camera fucking overheated. That's phenomenal. What the fuck? You mean overheated, bro? It's only been 20 minutes. Anyways, I got these other ones. But yeah, so so post-military, I don't know where I was going with that. I miss a lot of things. I miss the noise of it. I guess, again, I miss the noise of a lot of life I used to have. The misery, the camaraderie, and just the humor and comedic fucking lifestyle, dude. It was, as shitty as it was, there's a lot of funny parts. Anyways, and then the third part I guess we could talk about today is a little bit about family. And like I said, I'm not good at it. Family's not easy, man. I don't think anybody's really good at it. Maybe they are, I don't know. But family to me is like, it just isn't what it was. God, I shouldn't say too much about that on here, but it's the truth, man. I mean, and I guess dude, I think the closest person I am with is obviously with my brother and my family. And it's not that I don't want to be close with my mother or other people. It's just I might just cut the family part out because that's not something I need to be talking about. So I'm going to shut it down now and not talk more about my family. But if you're in my family, I love you. If you're not and you know me and you know I don't fucking hate you and I care about you, then I love you. But if I hate you, then I love you. I don't hate you, okay? Oh, and a buddy of mine passed away this week. I just want to say rest in peace, Bryant. I'm not going to say last name or anything, what he was to me, but he's a good buddy. And bless your family, man. And till Valhalla. All right. Later.